All right, welcome to episode 3 of Finding Authentic Leadership podcast. Again, with Patrick Hall, Eric Torgerson, and myself, Rob King, with collaboration from Trace Green and Angela Gillum. We'd like to once again thank everyone for all the love and support that we've gotten on episodes 1 and 2. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, a lot of traction, a lot of folks seeing our videos and giving us really good feedback. So we'd like to thank everybody. This week's episode, we would like to focus on engagement. Engagement is a very broad topic and a very big topic, but we would like to, talk to you all and kind of share some stories about how we engage and the importance of engagement and what engagement actually means. So, with that being said, I'll let Patrick go ahead and get us kicked off and talk
Cool.
about engagement a little bit. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Pat.
Thanks, Rob. So, engagement is one of the things that when we spoke about doing this, Eric brought in some really good information to go over for this topic. And one of the things that I really saw kind of looking into this is engagement is the how in how we demonstrate authentic leadership. When you think about any job that you ever do, it's got its basic job responsibilities and such that it needs. Whether you are a front end employee, whether you are a middle manager, whether you are even a CEO, there are the basic things that you do in those roles, and that is that. Where the leadership part of this comes in is where it's how you are making the connections to people, and that comes via the way of how do you engage with people, right? One of the things that we've spoken about previously in the last episode was the difference between brick and mortar and remote work. And one of the big things we're going to go through today as far as engagement is concerned is how are you making those authentic connections with people? And that isn't something that happens only in one way or the other. There are ideas we may discuss and things to try to give people in order to give some ideas and ways that you may be able to engage with people that may work better in one avenue or another. But ultimately, how are you, as someone who wants to be an authentic leader, making that connection with people and really helping them and you to be on the same page, so that the communication is at 100%, so that the information flow is there, that people know what they need to do, there isn't any misconceptions, there isn't any miscommunications with that, and there is that level of job satisfaction coming when you work at a place that you feel like the people know you and you know them, and it becomes less of a job and a less of a chore and more of that second home for you. So big that's kind of what we're looking at today, is looking at the engagement of how do we make those connections and some of the ideas and effects, things like that. So go ahead and take it away here.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Patrick is saying, we're going to talk a lot more about how and give some ideas of how we can engage. But before we do the how, like Patrick was saying, why are we doing it? Why do we engage? And so what we need to figure out is what motivates employees to go the extra mile. Again, Rob and I disagreed a couple episodes on personality, but I'm going to always go back. And in episode 22, I'm still going to talk about, I think you need to know what your personality is and what your team members are and what personality and what drives them. So, because what motivates Rob necessarily doesn't motivate Patrick. So it's good to you got to know your team. And how do you do that? You engage, you talk to them, you find out about their kids, their birthday parties, good morning when they walk in or when they sign on and you're in teams. So that's how you find out what motivates them. And then we also talked about this in the first episode, is the number one reason people leave is their immediate supervisor. So we need to even dive deeper what causes people to quit. If we know what causes them, then we focus on engagement to solve that problem. So that's why it's important to figure out why are we losing people? Do we have attrition? Why aren't we retaining people? And then we all have, everybody works because we need money. We need, baby need new shoes. We need to put food on the table. So we need to know about how to manage against outside forces and distractions to create a better team. So we need to find out, there's to engage, like Rob said in the beginning, engagement is a huge topic, and we're going to try to break it down. But those outside forces, we don't know what it takes for someone to get to the job and start working. Maybe they got up at 5:30, got kids ready, took 3 kids to school, then they had to drop off their husband, then they drive an hour to get to the brick and mortar and start working, and they have all that outside distraction. And now you're gonna go tell them, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they're gonna like, screw you. So that's why it helps to understand their outside distraction and what it takes for them to even get to work or even sign on. Let's say remote. We're dealing with both scenarios. We don't know what it takes for somebody to prepare to come to your job. They're showing up and you just think, oh, well, all right, let's go. But understand what they did before they got to you will help, and it's in part of engagement, understanding what their distractions are outside. And Rob wants to say something.
Well, I know you're going to a very good spot, and I think what you're saying, to me, the way I boil things down, I have a very small brain, so I have to boil things down to very simple terms. Interaction is not engagement, right? You can interact with people all day long, but very transactional interactions are not engagement, right? I interact with the people at the fast food restaurant to give me my food. I engage with my family. I engage with my friends. I engage with my staff. I engage with my boss, right? Engagement is a deeper connection. And I think you also touched on the why, right? Why are you interacting is that engagement. So figuring out how, what motivates somebody, figuring out why somebody puts their pants on and comes into work in the morning is important. Hopefully they also have a shirt on, but that's,
Or they work remotely and they don't have pants on, and that's okay.
as long as
As
the
long as
camera
they don't
stays
stand up.
right from
Right.
here up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
But that's what I took from what you were saying is interaction is not engagement. Engagement is significantly deeper.
Right. Interaction is exactly interaction is what I have with the checker at the grocery store, which is important, right? Like we're going to keep saying, make every
interaction,
make every connection matter.
There you go. Make every connection matter. It's on your board.
It's on my board.
For those of you who don't know, Eric has a whiteboard in the background in his house. Yeah.
And big bold letters.
We can't see the things in there, and he expects us to read sometimes, and we can't read it, and it's like, yeah.
Magic. But no, you're exactly right, Rob. There is a difference between connection and engagement. Engagement is listening and responding and understanding what they're going through. That's what so how do you increase engagement on your team to make it successful? I mean, that's what we're trying to help. This is why we're doing this, is just how do we help people help themselves, and we'll talk about more.
I think one thing I would like to plug to start us off is you guys have both talked about the difference between interactions and engagement. I would say to start off with, you need to have authentic interactions with the team.
No.
There is, yes, there is 100% that transactional. Good morning, how you doing? Cool. All right, let's start off with this. Let's work on this. Cool. Yeah, whatever. The very transactional job responsibilities, but also needing to have those authentic interactions where you take a moment to actively listen to someone's problem. When you ask how someone is doing, you wait, you stop yourself and you wait and you listen to them and you let them understand, no, I'm not doing this just as a transaction. Hey,
Right.
how are you doing? And the authentic interaction of what's the next step. Hey, Eric, so how's your dog? I know you had to take him into the vet last week. Is he doing better? Hey, so and so. Like that sort of that, okay, here's the interaction. That next step is authentic interactions that then is absolutely the way that people then go, oh, this person isn't here. They are at that next step.
Well, I'll never forget one of the first scenarios I had. I was supervisor or manager, and I had a team in brick and mortar, and they were all leaving for the day. I wasn't involved in the conversation. There was a bunch of them all leaving. They're packing up their stuff, and one of the ladies was talking to another lady saying, "Hey, I have to run by the grocery store and pick up a cake. It's my daughter's 6th birthday on Saturday. This was a Friday. It was on Saturday. And they said, "Oh, it's great. She's having a birthday." And they said, "Oh, you should come over." Blah blah blah. Wasn't involved in the conversation at all. They didn't see me. I'm sitting at my desk. I heard this conversation going on, eavesdropping, I guess you can call it. Monday morning, she came in, and it just popped in my brain. I didn't realize I did this. I said, "Good morning," and I said, "Gloria, how did the birthday party go Saturday?" And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. Her eyes were this big, and she's like, "How did you know about the birthday party?" And I said, "Oh, I heard that it was your daughter's birthday. I hope she had a great birthday." I thought she was gonna cry. She's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much it was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for," and I tell you, she was probably one of my best employees after that, because she's like, this person is actually engaging, acknowledging, and not just, oh, okay.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you're doing that next step. You're doing that
Right.
thing of
And it
recognizing
was,
that person's a human being with a child.
didn't know I was even doing it.
Right.
But that stuff doesn't cost anything, and it goes,
Mhm.
the old attaboys or whatever, or acknowledgement of somebody is doing something or did something or had something. One of the things I struggle with is I could care less about my birthday. Don't want any more birthdays. Don't want to celebrate them. Don't want to acknowledge them. But I know I'm weird, and I have to understand I'm weird about that. And birthdays are important to most people. So I have
Yep.
to go out of my 9 dots or the box or whatever that saying is to make sure that I acknowledge people's birthdays and happy birthday and how'd you do, and how,
Yeah.
and that's tough for me because I could give a rat's.
Oh,
Well,
That's important.
I'm one of those people. Like I have I feign, and for anybody that knows me knows that and I'll be very transparent with everybody right now. I feign humility on some of those things. One of the best birthdays I ever had was when I was running a site down in Arizona, and I got tricked into going to lunch with somebody and coming back, and my office was filled with balloons and the whole 9 yards, and they went way above and beyond for me, and that made me feel good. So one of the things that I would do when it was somebody's birthday, if I found out there were people like you, Eric, who were very adamant about not celebrating their birthday, and when so we wouldn't necessarily celebrate those birthdays. But when somebody told me that, hey, you know what? It's Jaden's birthday today. You know, she's trying to keep it quiet, but she really, you know, she secretly really likes people celebrating their birth. I'd pull them out. This was, you know, luckily I was running an operation that I could stop production for a little while. I'd run out, stop production, and hey, hey everyone, and I would get the entire group to sing happy birthday to this person, and we would get the production out of those people was just boom. They had the best sales days they'd ever had in their entire careers when they did that. So
Right.
it's just it's amazing. So yeah,
Well,
no,
I can even
birthdays are
say,
huge.
and even me, not, I don't want to make a big deal, but when somebody does make a big deal out of it or says happy birthday, I have to admit, I like it. Like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for, recognizes my birthday. So I'm probably like that person that, it's kind of like when you ask your wife,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Nothing. Okay. Yeah, no.
You've met Maggie? I can't believe that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Maggie's gonna watch this later, and I'm gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning getting jabbed in the side.
Yeah.
Like,
But my point is, even if somebody like myself says, "Well, we don't care," d- don't don't take don't 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 take their word. Do what you want to do. Recognize that person. Recognize that person for a good job. Recognize that person for being above and beyond their job. Even if, oh, I don't need any recognition. Okay, I'm going to
yeah,
give it to you anyway.
yeah,
That's coming from a person that says that stupid stuff. So I mean, it's literally like when you ask your partner, wife, husband, whatever, what's wrong? Nothing. Yeah, BS. So
yeah,
uh, I'm just kind of bringing it down. Like, don't engagement's in very important, no matter if a person says it's not or not or
yeah.
is.
Yeah. I don't care about meeting. You know, I don't need one-on-ones. I'm fine. Just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. I don't need one-on-ones. No, it's crap. They need one-on-ones. They need the attention. They need to know they're
You,
doing a good job. People need to know where they stand.
right. You need to, one-on-ones, and that's tough. I know we're last week's subject, but in a remote, situation, remote scenario, one-on-ones are tough.
Mhm.
And if I can give, if you're looking for a suggestion, schedule them. I schedule them in Outlook, and I do not do an end date. And I do my best don't cancel them. If we're all busy, you got things going up, and another meeting pops up or whatever, move them. And sometimes, if they take 5 minutes, they take 5 minutes. If they take 30 minutes, they take 30 minutes. And part of engagement, I don't start the meeting off. I don't talk about performance. How's your day? How's it going? And it's so funny when you get a new team, you say, how's it going? You know what? Oh, I had this, I took this client and I had this many calls, or this customer came in to buy clothes or whatever. No. How, how's it? How long did it take you to get to work? What are you doing this weekend?
Mhm.
The circle back, that's engagement. That is acknowledgement. That's asking about. I don't care. I know how many calls you took. I know how many clothes you sold. I can look that up on the computer or the cash register or whatever we're doing nowadays. And I don't engage me. So don't cancel those one-on-ones. Don't, Rob was one of the first people that, and I thought this was crazy. I never told Rob this though, but when we were doing the whole starting up a contract together, and we hadn't launched yet, and Rob's like, I'm gonna have stand-up meetings every morning. I'm like, what? We're in brick and
Sounded
mortar.
just like that too.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that he's crazy. We're brick and mortar. I'm bouncing around talking to everybody. I don't need to have a stand-up meeting to talk to my team every morning. And I saw him in action. And in my career, I never did stand-up meeting. I never had a call or stand-up meeting in the middle of the office with all your directs. And once in a while, maybe have a team meeting. You do it out in front of everybody, but every morning, and to talk about what you did the day before and what's going to go on the day today. I thought he was wrecking ruts. And I don't think I've ever told you that, Rob, but I'm like,
No, I don't think you have.
I'm like, I'm not doing that on my site. Rob had a different site. I had one site. I'm like, and we were all meeting, and I'm like, that's crazy talk. I'm not wasting everybody's time and my time. I tell you what, to this day, I do stand-up meetings. It's a little different remote. I manage remote people now, and we have a daily call every single day to talk about what we did the day before and what's going on this week. And even brick and mortar, I did. I just thought, well, I'll try it. And when I was brick and mortar and Rob was doing it, I actually went down and visited Rob's site and saw him in action. And I'm like, son of a biscuit. For the love of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think I need to try this, because I'm like, okay, there was interaction, there was engagement, it did more than just, I was focused on the information, and like, we know what everybody's doing. I don't need to talk about it. That's what I was focused on when Rob was saying that. But what I was missing was the engagement and the teamwork and the collaboration of the team every single morning. Sometimes those meetings were 7 to 10 minutes, gathered up. Hey, what's going on? Well, I got this going on. I got this many people coming in. I got this many interviews, whatever. Okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3, you're on team. And we leave. Other times, maybe go a half hour. Hey, I got a question about what this process is, or I got a question, and they learn from each other. I didn't do anything, but not having those team meetings, those engagement meetings, and it's coming from me. I thought they were stupid. I thought that's a waste of time. And I didn't want to do them. Tried it. I'm still doing them to this day. And more important, I will have to say, more important in a remote situation. But if you guys listening right now are in a brick and mortar and you have a team, sometimes it's hard. I don't know if your team all comes in. Do stand up, team daily meetings, daily touch base, whatever you want to call them. Do that. If nothing else about information, and you think, oh, I already know that little Johnny's doing that. But look, maybe you know that, but little Johnny's peer doesn't know that. And maybe little Johnny's peer, little Jane, maybe Jane knows a better way to do it than little Johnny. And Jane would have never known until that stand-up meeting. So, all right, I know I'm on my soapbox, but I'm actually giving credit to Rob for something I didn't want to do.
Write that down.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often.
First time. No.
Well, it doesn't happen very often that I admit that I'm wrong.
No, I was the same way when I first started doing them. I was like, this is ridiculous. I got so tired of prepping my stuff. But then at a certain point, you're right. You've only got, there's only so much that you can update on. So the next opportunity, or the next thing you do in those meetings is, well, we're all here. Anybody got anything new? No. All right. Well, who's got big plans for the weekend? Right. And it's an opportunity to build the team. So,
yes. And that's what that was the piece I was missing, not thinking about. And again, I don't even know if I like the word engagement. Is there a different word for engagement? I mean, I don't know, but that isn't, it's understanding your people and knowing your people, and that meeting helps. The one-on-one helps. Knowing the, listening to the people, writing. I and to this day, like when I go into a new team, I take a book, my notebook, and I'm not a very, I take notes better than Rob does, but I don't take notes very well. I'm not. But what I have learned a long time ago is you meet in a new team, write all their name down, and whatever they talk about, 2 kids, husband, married, divorce, from Iowa, from Wisconsin, whatever, write it down. And then when you talk about, 2 weeks later, you go, so how was growing up in Wisconsin? And they're going to like, holy crap. You listen to that? And why I say write it down is, most people have 10 to 15, maybe 20, depending on your industry, people reporting to you. You're not going to remember all that.
No.
And where I learned to do that was probably about 15 years ago, and I learned it from my doctor. And I don't go to the doctor very often. Go to the doctor, and I'd probably seen that doctor a year and a half ago. I come in, and he's like, "So how's Kim and the kids?" I don't even remember your name. How do you know my wife and my kids' names? I don't, Doctor who? I don't know who you are. And anyway, got talking to him, because I'm a stupid talker. And I'm like, all right, I want the cat out of the bag. How do you know? My wife doesn't come here. She's not a patient of yours. The kids aren't a patient of yours. So he's like, he turns the laptop to me. He's like, oh, I put it in the notes. Oh. He's like, hell, I didn't know your name till I looked out the door.
That's
worst magician's reveal ever.
That's both really great from a leadership perspective, but really terrible about our medical system. Like,
no, but my point is, doctors have. That's why we have applications. That's why we have programs. That's why we have a pen and paper to help us. But it doesn't matter how you get to the end result. It's not. It doesn't matter how you get the information. It's that you act, retain it. I guess, retain it and give the perception. I'm not talking about perception, but give the perception that you understand what they're going through and you remember. And the fact that you wrote it down because you want to use it in the future is the point.
Means it's important. Yeah, exactly. Retention, whether it's up here or on here or wherever
you
it is,
took the time.
You held on to it.
You took the time to take the opportunity to use a tool to make sure that you could engage later. Doctors do it. Teachers do it. Teacher. So that's an example of a how to engage. Write things down in a little notebook. Back in my day, we all had the Franklin planner, and we'd write things in the planner. Well, now you can put it in notes or on an email, a draft, or an Excel spreadsheet, whatever your method is. But write down everything that you hear, and you're in one-on-ones, and they're talking about hey, I want to take a vacation in 2 months. Okay, that's great. Not only tell them put the vacation time. Oh, you planning anything fun?
Where are you going?
No, gonna go to Jamaica. Write that down.
Yeah.
3 months later, they're on, hey, little Johnny's going, hey team, little Johnny's going on vacation for a week, have fun. He comes back and you don't say, how was your vacation? How was Jamaica?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How did the kids have fun? Did your wife have fun? Because 3 months ago, you wrote that down.
Yeah.
To your earlier comment, the Franklin planner was literally something that Benjamin Franklin handed Eric, that he said, use this, and then he
Yes,
was like,
it
this
was,
is
yeah.
great, you should call this the Franklin planner. No, to your earlier point, the lady who you mentioned, how was her kid's birthday? One thing I want to point out is this: we all have things that are a part of our core values, and you probably touched on something to her that was the most important thing in the world, her kid. And it's not, and to that person who came back from Jamaica, and you're like, how was Jamaica, how is that? That was a very important part of that person's life and what they wanted to. I think one of the words, just looking up some different things, using maybe the word involvement, because there's shallow involvement, there's shallow interactions, shallow involvement, and then there's authentic involvement with our employees in a way that's professional, but also still allows us to connect in a way where we are engaging in an authentic way with them. So I think one of the important aspects of this too, as we sort of discuss how to and such, is also this: your involvement with people needs to be targeted in a way where you're discovering what motivates them, right? Because
Yes.
one of the things that we may talk about later too are some of the different ways that we may engage with people in different ways: recognition programs, rewards, contests, things like that. Some of the things that I'm sure everyone has heard about or seen in some way, shape, or form, and maybe we've seen them done great, maybe we've seen them done pretty bad, but regardless, are you as a leader targeting the most important thing as to the why and the how for that person? um hey, we're all doing a job for money, right? And at the end of the day, what does that money do? One story that I have is, when one supervisor I worked closely, or worked nearby with, was someone who was very much money motivated. And I mean, everything was about money to him. When he had one-on-ones, when he had meetings with his team, all of it was about bonuses and money. And what I thought was very interesting about the conversations between me and him with our teams, on when I would hear him talk about this and stuff, is, for him it was always, everything has a dollar amount. And when I spoke with my team, it was what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
How are, you're going to, hey, you're doing an amazing job, you might get X amount of money. What does that mean to you? What is that going to do? How, hey, you've been talking about going back to school. Yeah, that's a couple textbooks at least, or that's that's this amount of money and going into the college fund. Or, hey, you were saving up for your kid's birthday. What was that you were going to get them then? That really cool Lego set, or what? It's touching on those motivations, because money is money. Having lots of money, sure, that would be nice, but what does that money do for you?
You can buy
What's
me
the
a boat.
motivation? Right, you can buy you a boat, and you can nearly kill your family every time you go out
Yeah.
in it, like Rob does. So
That's a country song.
No, a country song is when your boat leaves you, your dog leaves you, your
No.
kids say,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but
last weekend for him.
if you play the country song backwards, they all come back.
they all come
Right.
back. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, so I think we're kind of talking around the same type of subject, and I think we are really good at what we do, and I think we're very engaging in our podcast. But I think we fall short in some aspects. There's a really great video out there, and Trace, I need us to tag or repost it or tag it onto the post when we post this. But Simon Sinek actually has a really good video about how great leaders inspire action. Yeah, I know, Patrick, you roll your eyes. You've seen it about 50,000 times, right? And he talks about the golden circle, right? Everybody knows what they do. Some people know how they do it. Very few people know why they do it. And I think that really comes down to the bulk of what we're talking about is finding that why, right? And engagement is, to me, finding that why. And another way that you do it, and Patrick's going to roll his eyes even harder now because I've put him through this exercise, is an asking versus telling exercise. And he's going to roll his eyes because it's not easy to do. Essentially, what I've done is I pulled a brand new supervisor into a conference room with me, and I said, all right, here are my stats. You know, I showed him my stats, I showed him my outputs, I showed him what I'm currently doing. And I said, what are my goals and what do I need to get to? And the supervisor, to a person, can rattle off, you need to produce this many units in this much time, and you need to have this attendance and this adherence, blah, blah, blah. They could always rattle it off for me. And I said, okay, coach me on it. And they'll sit there and say, all right, Rob, you know, you turned out 5 units yesterday. The goal is to turn out 10 units. So we need to get you to turn out 10 units tomorrow. And I'd sit there and say, nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. And I'd make them struggle for, 15, 20 minutes. And finally I'd say, okay, let's do this a different way. And I'd take out a note card, and I wrote the word telling on. And I said, I want you to coach me again, but this time you need to only ask me questions. If you tell me something, I'm going to hold up the telling card, and you immediately have to rephrase exactly what you just said. And they'd say, okay. And so I'd say, all right, go ahead and coach me. And to a person, it was, all right, Rob, so we're going to talk to you about your stats. And I'd hold up the telling card. And immediately they were like, they were taken aback, like, okay, all right, okay. And through trial and error and through a lot of time and through a lot of practice, folks got really good at asking questions and asking very leading questions to get folks to understand what was going to be, right? I can sit there and I can tell Patrick or Eric, I need you guys to run a marathon. They may run that marathon for me.
No.
Probably not.
No.
But if Eric
you might as well tell me to slam a basketball.
Right? But if Eric comes to me and says, Rob, I'm going to run a marathon and I need your help, I need your support.
Right.
He's going to run that marathon as long as I support him.
Because it was because of my idea.
Because it's your idea.
Yeah. I mean, that, and what you're talking about, Rob, too, is focusing on behaviors that drive what you want. Now, don't tell me. Nobody likes to be told what to do. My kids don't like to be told what to do. Nobody likes told, make it sound like it's their idea. I love that exercise, Rob. No, don't tell.
Exactly.
And another thing, and I know you probably get, but open-end questions, not
yes.
Don't
not
give
yes,
them, no. One of the best things.
All right,
that's meeting requirements. No.
I wonder if we should go back to engagement and maybe have this be a good topic for in the future episode.
Well, but
no, I want to talk about this now. Wait a minute. So, because somebody told me, communicating to my children, they come home. How was school? Good, and you let them go. Someone told me, don't ask them how was school. Say, what was your favorite part of school today? So what it did, it changed the whole engagement of my children coming home from school. It changed the whole. They come in, backpack, throw it on the floor. You're going to take your lunchbox out of your backpack? They take your lunchbox. How was school? Good. Go in their room.
Mm-hmm.
Changed their interaction, what I had control over. Come in. Drop it back. Hey, is your lunchbox? Where's your lunchbox? All right. What was your favorite part of school today? Well, I don't know. No. What you got to say something. What was your favorite part? Oh, well, play basketball at recess. Oh, who'd you play with? Oh, little Johnny. Now, a conversation interaction with my children, engagement with my children that was 2 minutes long. No, 10, 15 minutes long before they went into their room and stuck their nose in their phone.
Yeah.
So it was just that one different statement. So when you're thinking engagement, it might just be a different sentence that you need to get something out and understand and listen and not tell somebody.
Yeah.
That's
a good
shut
point.
up.
I honestly hadn't thought about that from a kid rearing perspective. Is, I'm very much. Do you have a good day? Yep. What'd you do? Nah, I don't know. Okay. And then off they go. What was your favorite part? I'm gonna steal that and take that and borrow it.
It'll probably work better with older kids. I'll just tell you right now, because I've tried it with my daughter. Like, while she's doing bath or whatever. What was your favorite part today? I don't remember.
Well,
Right.
you got to keep
I'm
you
like,
got to keep
okay.
on them. You're
Right,
like,
yeah.
no, you got to give me an answer, and I don't care if they say lunch.
Well, because then they're
lunch.
gonna remember.
Okay.
They're
Well,
gonna
lunch.
have to remember something because dad is gonna ask me or mom is gonna ask
Right,
me something when
They-
I get home.
They
Yeah,
my son. Here's a perfect scenario. I'm not remembering it exactly. Come home. What was your favorite part of the day? Lunch. Trying to fool me. Great. What'd you have? Well, you packed my lunch. You should know. Well, did you like it? Yeah, I like. It still turned into a longer conversation.
Right.
Even us being smartasses to each other turned into a longer conversation than me saying, "How was school?" Good.
Yeah. Well, and that's the last part of the story that I was telling is that same supervisor, the very first supervisor that I did this with, would forever try and get me. So he ended up getting promoted to an OM, and we would have conversations, and the conversation would be an entire series of questions. He'd come up and say, "Hey, Rob, how are you doing today?" I'm like, "I don't know, Justin. How do you feel like I'm doing? Have you seen our results today?" And he would ask me a question, and I'd ask him a question, and it was, you're never supposed to answer questions with questions, but that breeds engagement, that breeds interaction, that breeds, I have to now think of, okay, he just asked me this question. What's a good question that I can get to ask him that gets him to talk and gives me more information? And so that back and forth, it's almost like, the celebrity game, Abigail Adams, or, B. So that back and forth was and quite frankly, it became fun. It was an unspoken game.
Right.
And he got me a couple times, I got him a couple times, and we just continued that on and on and on. And I guarantee right now, if I picked up the phone and I called the supervisor, the first question would be, "Hey, Rob, how are you?" And I'd say, "I don't know. How do you think I am?" And it would go back and forth. And it just becomes ingrained in your personality and ingrained in the interactions that you have.
If you do something 21 times, it becomes a habit, and you're going to start doing the, like, asking a question. One word will change your whole engagement interaction with anybody. So I promise, write this down. One word is going to change your engagement with everybody, your family members. It's the word why.
Why? Yeah.
What? Let's say I say, "How was your day?" Good. Why?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I got to play video games and had some beer.
Right. I had lunch
and
I ate this terrible sandwich that you made me, and I traded it for Pringles, and that's why it was great. So, it's when you're talking to somebody and they say, "How was your weekend?" It was good. Why? Why? One word will change your whole interaction that you have with your team. One word. Why?
That's engagement, right? That's engaging.
Yeah, that's what I'm, because that starts the conversation, and then it snowballs. Right. Then they say, "Well, it's good because I went through Starbucks and the guy in front of me paid for my coffee. Oh, that's great. God, I love it when that happens. What would you have? I mean, so it starts the conversation.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
your wife comes home. Oh, honey, how was work today? It was good. Why? If she doesn't throw something at you, then the conversation starts. And then if something throws, then you can still start a conversation. Why'd you throw your shoe at me? So it's even why works. I mean, I heard that doesn't happen to me.
Did you see the shoe
Asking
fly?
for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Yeah, your wife doesn't throw. No, she's just gonna drown you.
Yeah,
Drown you in the pool.
yeah.
You don't chicken fight with your wife in the pool, do you? You don't. Have you ever chicken fought? Have you ever been on the bottom of a chicken fight?
No, I have not. I can't stand up.
That's what I was gonna say. Fastest chicken fight ever.
I'm always on the top. I'm on the top guy.
Yeah.
A chicken fight. Yeah. Yeah.
Stop from chicken fights.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're approaching the 40-minute mark. Patrick, any final thoughts for the group?
No, I think we kind of went through everything we were kind of working through today.
I agree. I
got more to talk about. I can talk more.
We can talk more.
We know.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, we all know.
I've been floating in the pool all day. I'm ready to talk.
Right there you go. I think we've reached a pretty good stopping point for this week. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, or suggestions for a future show, please do not forget to email us at authenticleadershippod@gmail.com. We really would love any feedback, any suggestions, ideas for future shows. We're going to put some polls out this week on future topics that we can go over. We really want to once again thank everybody for all their love and support, and don't forget to make every connection matter. So thank you all very much, and we will talk to you, and you will all see us next week. Thank you all.
Guys have a great week. Thanks for listening.